Welcome to the Heart of Racing podcast, made alongside our mates at Ladbrokes. Neil Breen with you and Will Freedman, my partner in crime. How are you, Will?
Very well. Big week. Big week.
Absolutely massive. We've got so many things to talk about. We've got so many good races to talk about. We're not mucking around today. This information is going to come to everyone thick and fast. We always start with the Pineapple, the Shocker of the Week award. I want to ask you a question. Why is it whenever Craig Williams rides a favourite in a Group 1 and he gets beaten, everyone loses their mind? This is all Mr. Brightside last weekend. Couldn't run down Pride of Jenny. The owners had a vote to see whether they were going to punt him for the Australian Cup.
He's a jockey people like to hate, isn't it?
He just polarises people.
I don't understand. He's a lovely guy, always gives you all his time. I don't know.
I find it weird.
I thought the ride was fine.
Man, what could he do? He had a wide barrier. He sits 3 wide or he drops back. You know, at the end of the day, Pride of Jenny didn't stop.
But it's like limiting your worst case scenario. They're both the worst case scenarios. Letting Pride of Jenny get too far ahead or sitting 3 wide and just getting, like, it would empty him out. He'd be no chance in the Australia Cup if he went and sat 3 wide and just tried to go gun-ho with
so we
Pride
won't
of Jenny.
nominate him for the Pineapple.
You know, but the amazing thing is Pride of Jenny can do that and then back up 4 days later and do it again. She's an incredible horse.
Amazing horse. Have you got a Pineapple?
Yeah,
Was
I
there
do.
A bad ride?
Dylan Gibbons on Tavi time in the last at Randwick just gave Winchat the most luxurious run in front and then just sat there like he was on $1.10 chance. And mind you, he was odds on, but just thought he gave way too much leeway. Needed to be right on Winchat's hammer and then would have
Tavi time in the last was $1.60. Everyone knew Winchat would lead. Look, what I'll do is I'll skip past the Sayonara and go to the So Simple because I've got Winchat in as the So Simple.
All right.
You know, Tavi time's $1.60 and I'm talking through the hip pocket. I had the quaddie going. I used a $10 bonus bet and I had the quaddie going for a half, so 50%, and it was going to be a $250 collect. But when you've had a $10 bonus bet, like, fantastic. And I had a Tavi time as a standout in the last. And when they went in the barrier, honestly, when they walked in the barrier, I said to myself, I've stuffed this up. Winchat's going to lead and win this race.
It ended up being So Simple. Like, if you get that, particularly on that track, once they realised where the best going was, it all worked. And Winchat's been in super form, really good form. It's like proper good horse.
Good horse, and Tavi time was way too far.
I thought my So Simple was watching. At the start of the day, everyone goes, oh, and I was there. I was there all day. I was in the first and the last race. So I had nothing to do during the middle of the day. So I was just hanging around annoying people. But everyone's like, oh, James McDonald's having a bad day, struggling a bit. And I'm like, firstly, no one's sympathetic towards freaking James McDonald. Please, if there's anyone two people you don't need to be sympathetic to in racing is Chris Waller and James McDonald. But then comes out and just gives a 10 out of 10 ride, 12 out of 10 ride on Zugotcha. Like, he got that.
Great ride.
He picked that horse up and got her
over
home.
the line.
So I thought that was the So Simple that James. Never doubt James is going to put in a good ride in a Group 1 day.
We said on the podcast last week that Zugotcha was seriously the horse to beat in the Coolmore Classic, and that's the way it worked out. I'm going to go for my Sayonara, the horse that we're just not going to touch. I'm putting in Militarize. It gets that much publicity, Militarize. It doesn't win. I know it's run 2 good seconds this campaign. Now, people should understand Militarize will run in the George Ryder. It's out of the Rosehill Guineas. It will run in the George Ryder. I'm leaving it out because it gets beaten.
Really?
Yeah. I'm leaving it out.
Jesus. It's a good horse, though.
I know it's a good horse.
It likes it wet, and it likes Rosehill.
Is it going to be that wet at Rosehill on the weekend?
Well, it's not going to be that wet, but it'll be damp.
A little bit
It'll be
soft.
damp. See, the horse I think is way overs, and Björn is a good friend of mine, good friend of the show, but I don't think Osmosis is going to win that Galaxy.
Oh, right.
I think Osmosis first up, vulnerable against. These are some seasoned horses. Like, how can you rule out Private Eye after the way it was ridden last time?
Mate, you can't.
It'll sit closer this time, albeit it's drawn barrier 14. I don't know. Do they run the gauntlet this time and go forward again?
Well, when we preview that race a little bit later, the Galaxy, we'll run through all.
But you got King of Sparta. King of Sparta's $20. It's won its last 2 starts.
I know, and it's been low flying, I should say.
Yeah.
Private Eye went up $9 on Ladbrokes yesterday. $6.50 now. The punters just said, $9.
It's the best horse in the race.
Give me a huge chunk. Okay, so you're going to pot Osmosis first up, which is blown out to a bit over $4. So we'll get stuck into the races very
All
soon.
right.
There's Group 1s everywhere. Gates Fly, we get into the issues of the week. There are a lot this week. We're going to belt through them. Moonee Valley, the Valley, as it's called now, has to tender out the 2026 Cox Plate because the course has been completely redeveloped. We're going to talk about the redevelopment on the show next week.
Yeah.
Like what's going to happen with the 400-meter straight and all those things that are going on.
You don't like it.
I don't like it, but we'll get to it next week. So the 2026 Cox Plate can't be run at Moonee Valley, which, if you ask me, means it's not the Cox Plate.
Yeah.
It's some other sort of race. I don't know what it is because the Cox Plate's at Moonee Valley. So does it go to Caulfield, which is coming off its Caulfield Cup Carnival, and the track's been torn up a bit over the previous weeks or 2 weeks racing, or does it go to Flemington, which normally sits back and waits for Derby Day, and we just go there early? What do you think will happen?
What I think will happen and what I want to happen, probably two different things. I think it will go to Caulfield because there's probably a closer relationship between the MRC and
the Moonee Valley.
So I think they'll end up going to Caulfield, but I think it should be at headquarters. I'm of the belief that all good races should either in Victoria should be run at Flemington and all good races in Sydney should be run at Randwick. It's the fairest track. Everyone gets a go. Some horses don't handle Caulfield, and I know that's part of the...
Some horses don't handle Moonee Valley.
I know that's part of the allure of it, but I would just like, if you're going to have one chance to run it at Flemington, take it, because it'll never be there again. It'll never leave Moonee Valley again. If you get one chance, just...
Take it to Flemington.
Let's see.
It'd be so like the McKinnon, though, because then you'd have a McKinnon about 3 weeks later at the same track.
That can be part of the negotiation.
Too bad.
Get rid of the McKinnon for a year.
Get rid of the McKinnon. Oh, my God.
What would you prefer?
Dropping bombs on
Bang.
Victorian racing. Just boom. Hey, talking about bombs being dropped on Victorian racing, Darren Weir in the stewards hearing. So the criminal charges, and that's all been dealt with, but now he's back in the stewards hearing.
It's the Victorian tribunal. It's the
integrity tribunal.
Yeah. So what's
you followed it this week.
Yeah,
I haven't followed it that closely. What's happened?
So what's happened is they've come in now to reopen. It's reopening the inquiry that was originally for possessing the jiggers. They've now shown the footage of him using the jiggers, and he's pled guilty to animal cruelty.
And he was using them on a horse walker.
On a treadmill.
On a treadmill.
And
they were Melbourne Cup runners and everything.
Yeah, but the horses that were caught on camera didn't run very well. So Darren Weir has come out and said in his testimony, look, it didn't work, so I stopped using it. It was the first time. So that's what he said.
No one believes him.
No, but that's what he said. And now they're going through the process. I think it gets ruled on Monday or Tuesday next week, but you would suspect another disqualification is coming, which can be very interesting because he's currently pre-training, which you can do when you're not disqualified. He's apparently got 100 in work in pre-training. So if he gets disqualified, that has to go. So it's going to be this will be another bombshell. If they don't come down hard on him after what happened with the Jamie Carr situation where there was no penalty to her and there was a penalty to the strapper, and then you go through this and it's going to be Darren Weir's free to train again. It's going to be I would think they're going to lean on the more serious side of it this time.
It's very odd what goes on in Victoria. Some of those hearings and the Jamie Carr situation, as you say, was odd. I want to get to the Rosehill track.
Yeah.
I want to take you back to last Saturday morning, and it's applicable to this week as well. So at 6:30 in the morning, I like to listen to Sky Sports Radio so I can they go around the track managers around Australia in the first half hour. We find out what the track's like at Rosehill, Eagle Farm, if that's where they are, or Caulfield, whatever, the provincials, and boom. And when they went to Rosehill last week and the track manager came on and said it's a soft 6, I said, mate, you're joking. There was hardly any rain last week and they bowled up a soft 6.
Well, maybe not where you live.
Yeah, but still. Did it rain a lot at Rosehill?
On Thursday night, it rained enough. Like, enough that
You think it rained enough to make it a soft 6? You don't think they overwatered the track?
I don't have as big a problem with the whole conjecture. I've talked about this publicly. I prefer tracks not too hard because even though I'm not my main form of income isn't punting, I prefer horses to pull up well. Horses on softer ground pull up well. And I know they'll all come out and say, oh, they all have black eyes. But a black eye is very insignificant compared to a chipped knee or where a horse actually breaks down because of the firmness of the track. And I saw Robbie Waterhouse come out and say, oh, well, there's no statistics on that. But in America, the ground is very hard and they have a much higher attrition rate. So I'm of that belief. I thought maybe they watered the track too early in the week. Like, they could have waited until Thursday afternoon and been like, do we need to water the track? And then they could have seen, oh, no, we had 6 mils of rain. We only need to give 4. But they watered the track on Tuesday or Monday or Tuesday. And then the rain was somewhat unexpected. So I think the mistake came from doing it too early and assuming the weather would stay consistent. Then they got that little bit of rain and it just ruined the whole thing.
My preference, and I'm just a bloke who likes his racing.
Yeah.
I love a good 4.
Yeah.
A good 4, soft 5. And I think for the track to have come up that, I was just personally disappointed. And I saw Chris Waller was, telling everyone, you know what, Chris Waller, if I've got a horse that only likes dry tracks and you've got every good horse in the country, shut up.
But what happens if you've got a horse that doesn't like a good 4?
Well, then I want them to water the track. Well,
I just
a lot of horses don't like
punters,
it. They need a chance to. It just can't be a soft every week, and then Chris Waller's happy. I don't care if Chris Waller's happy.
But professional punters love good tracks because it's more predictable.
Yes.
The results are more predictable. But if we wanted more predictable racing, then get rid of handicap racing. Get rid of the benchmark system. We'll just run everything at weight for age and the best horse will win every race. Is that what the punters want?
No, okay, we're at odds on this.
Yeah,
this is going to turn into a dead set brawl over track conditions. If it doesn't need to be a soft 6, it shouldn't be a soft 6.
It'll probably
be a soft 5 or a good 4.
Probably be a good 4 on Saturday.
Mate, I grew up in the era where there were 4 sorts of track. Fast, good, slow, and heavy.
So what happens if we did that? Then it would have been soft.
I used to love a fast track at Flemington. That was my favourite track, a fast track at Flemington. We got to rattle along here, Will Freedman. I've got to give you a Ladbrokes Racing Club update. Are you ready for it? Ladbrokes is giving punters the ownership experience through their stable of over 30 thoroughbred greyhound and harness runners. So what are you waiting for? Join the Ladbrokes Racing Club today. Remark is set to become the Ladbrokes Racing Club's first Group 1 thoroughbred runner.
That's exciting.
He's in the galaxy.
Wow.
Isn't that a hot feel? We're going to get to that soon after we do a big Golden Slipper preview, which is coming. So that's Saturday at Rosehill Gardens. Tommy Berry, he's booked to ride again. The soft draw should allow him to settle in a perfect trailing position and be ready to bounce at the business end. An army of loyal Ladbrokes Racing Club members and Remark fans will be in attendance at Rosehill Gardens for the ownership experience after they were drawn as winners from the open ballot. It's set to be a mammoth day of racing. We can't wait to be part of it.
I think they get looked after by Munsey as well. He does a good job with them. He goes to Newcastle. Yeah, he loves it.
Alrighty, this is the heart of racing, mate, alongside our mates at Ladbrokes. Next, we give you the big bets for this weekend's racing, but we're starting with a Golden Slipper special.
Have to.
Introducing The Hub, now available in the Ladbrokes app. The Hub gives you an extensive catalogue of sports and racing stories, as well as race day insights and industry experts, all in the one place. You can even check out episodes and clips from our Heart of Racing podcast. So for all your sports and racing insights, check out The Hub, available now in the Ladbrokes app. What's gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au. Welcome back. This is the Heart of Racing, made alongside our mates at Ladbrokes. We've got to get into the Golden Slipper, Will Freedman. Oh, look, I've followed racing my whole life. I'm in my mid-50s. I've never been more excited about a Golden Slipper. I don't know what it was about the 2-year-olds this year. They were absolute rippers. Not a lot of them have met head. Oh, a couple of the favourites haven't met head-to-head. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking it's not as straightforward as other people think it is.
Okay.
We'll start at the top.
We got the whole field here. We're going to take you through the runners we think can win. Look, there might be an upset and we'll look like a pair of mugs next week.
Yeah.
We're going to leave a few out because We can't just go through every runner and give you the full form. Storm Boy, we know the story. Barrier 2, it's won everything. 4 starts, 4 wins. It won the Magic Millions. Ryan Moore has been chosen by Coolmore to ride the horse instead of James McDonald, trained by Waterhouse and Bott, who've got 6 runners in the race, and they've got 3 or so of the first 5 barriers. It's unbelievable. What do you think about Storm Boy? $2.25.
The only risk I have with Storm Boy is barrier 2. I actually think, I know Adrian came out and said, oh, it's better than getting the second widest barrier. But actually for him, I think he's an elite athlete. The only thing that should beat him is bad luck, but you can get bad luck from barrier 2.
Just a touch tardy last start.
And he's
just
but
a quarter of a
not
length.
even just last start. He's been a touch tardy every start. Like I was up there in Brisbane when the BJ McLaughlin, he wasn't quick out and he had to go round
And
them.
he had to sit wide and he was
Had
up
to
against
sit
Brisbane
wide,
2-year-olds.
and
He beat them.
Even at the Gold Coast, tardy out, but had the ability to go around them. From barrier 2, you're tardy out, bang, there's a horse
10
in
horses in front of you.
and they're coming from out wide. They'll come like he could get put in a really awkward position. So the race will be won and lost out of the barriers. And look, if you're going to have anyone on a horse that needs to get out of the barriers, you've got the expert in Ryan Moore. I know we had a discussion off camera where we're talking about the James McDonald and Ryan Moore factor, but look, you know what I'm so surprised about? So say Coolmore hold the trump cards. Why didn't they wait to see the barrier draws to see who they wanted on each horse? Why does it make any difference? James McDonald has ridden both of them, like in all of their lead-up races. Why wouldn't you just wait to see the barrier draw? And you might have been like, Ryan, this is a bit trickier. Like this is an Australian type of barrier where you need to get out and going.
Mhm.
Why don't you sit on Switzerland? We'll put James McDonald on. That whole saga is really perplexing to me.
Yeah, you find it weird, the whole...
Yeah.
Look, all I know is every time... I know that James McDonald just thinks Storm Boy's the ants pants. Maybe he's been BSing. I don't know. But
he did come off Switzerland and say
he might
this'll
say
win
this was the ants pants. I always knew it was going to win. We'll get to it.
Yeah.
Shangri-La Express is an interesting runner. It won a couple of races last year. It's come back this year for a second and a third. It's at $31. That's a good price. Barrier 3.
I reckon $7 a place is good. He's going to sit on speed.
He'll be there-ish.
He's going to sit on speed. He's going to keep going. I reckon he's suited to the 1400. I think you'll see him at his best in the sires.
Okay.
But I thought he's been game his last couple of starts. I thought his first up run was very good. He might have been a touch flat second up, but I think he could bounce back.
Let's go into... Yeah. I think he's not a bad chance. Straight charge is at $11. Tim Clark, this is for Waterhouse and Bott again. Yeah. It's our third Waterhouse Bott horse.
Yeah.
Barrier 9, straight charge did that great job. It was up early, that it went back out, came back up, won in December, but was a bit crook, didn't go to the Magic Millions, went back out, came back up and won. Then it ran second last start when it just did too much work early.
I heard on the grapevine that it might have taken a bit out of him that last start. A couple of them didn't pull up that well out of that last run. So I'm a bit weary on him after hearing that. I was actually quite bullish on him.
Switzerland beat him.
But he will be on speed. He will be outside the leader or leading. So he's going to put himself there, and that takes you a long way. You don't want, you want to be able to, and you want to be able to be in a position where you take luck out of the equation. But you need to watch the track. If the track's playing on pace bias, straight charge comes right into it.
They'll go bananas. If it's unpaced bias, the first 200 or 300 of this race will be helter-skelter. Switzerland, this is what James McDonald's riding. Chris Waller is the trainer.
1-1-1.
It hasn't lost either.
So
It and Storm Boy, unbeaten.
I honestly think one of these, the two favourites will win. They'll continue to be unbeaten post this race. I think it sets up lovely. I think there's enough pace up front, and everyone will be like, oh, but the Gay and Adrian horses aren't going to take each other on. These jockeys do not care when you come to Golden Slippers. They do not care about who's the stablemate is.
It's interesting because Waterhouse and Bott like the horses to run from the front.
They will jump.
They'll all jump and run, you think?
They
won't set it up for Storm Boy?
But the jockeys will jump over their own grandmother to win the Golden Slipper. You know what I mean? Like, there's just going to be no team tactics here. It's just go.
Bodyguard's an interesting runner. Horse number 8, $31. Mark Zara, Peter and Paul Snowden. It won first up in Melbourne. It was going into the Blue Diamond as
As
one of
favourite.
the favourites, but then it was scratched.
Yeah.
It was scratched the day before because it was a bit lame. It came back to Sydney
I
and
thought
ran fourth.
I thought its last run was okay. It came from back in the field.
You
And
didn't think it was that bad?
I thought it was okay. I think it's another one that could run a place. But then the one that's I'm really disappointed for Clinton McDonald was Hayasugi drawing 16.
Yeah, Hayasugi won the Blue Diamond, the filly. It was a great run. It ran over the top of Lady Camelot. It's drawn barrier 16. Jamie Carl ride. That's a tough barrier.
It's probably too tough, to be honest. With this quality, you're just going to be giving too many horses. It's like when
she'll have to go back. This horse will be flying home.
Yeah, but it's a bit like a golf analogy, right? If you've got a golfer that you've bet on, but you see Tiger Woods, Rory McIlroy, Justin Thomas, John Rahm all ahead of you, you're like, it's going to be.
You can't run them all down.
That's right.
He might run 3 down, but not 5.
That's what I think it's going to be like. So I think Hayasugi is going to just get a little bit too far back. But the next runner, the best of the fillies, has to be Lady of Camelot.
Lady of Camelot got beaten by Hayasugi. Terrific run for second in the Blue Diamond.
And
trialled
like
last week at Hawkesbury. People should go back and look at that trial.
I reckon 750 is a bit juicy for that.
It absolutely took off like it was fired out of a cannon in that trial.
It would not surprise me. If there's anything that can beat the top 2 favourites, it's her.
It's her. And maybe
she's a market mover, I think, as well.
Behind him.
Possibly.
And use that turn of foot and
Possibly.
go crunch.
Right.
Espionage is the first emergency. We don't know if it'll get a run. In all likelihood,
it's running well. It's been running well. Tommy Berry, I know, is bullish. Got to remember, Tommy Berry got off Manal to get onto Espionage.
And Manal won its last start, and it's in the race.
And has a really good relationship with Michael Freedman. I know they think Manal can run a race, but again, barrier 17, just going to have to go back. Just too many good horses in front of you. You just can't do it.
It seems to me, Will Freedman, that you think either Switzerland or Lady of Camelot are a chance of
I'll have a
knocking off
milkshake
Stormboy.
bet with you.
Yep.
You can take Stormboy.
And you take the other 2.
Yeah, but I get 2 milkshakes if I win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hang on. You're getting 2 horses and 2 milkshakes.
No.
What are you betting?
You're on Stormboy. If you win, you get a milkshake. I'm on Switzerland, but I'm $5. So you got to buy me 2 milkshakes if I win.
2 milkshakes.
So I'm getting 2 to 1.
Malted milks or just normal?
No malt.
Malted milk. Okay. Okay, well, let's get to the other group ones. We'll start with the Randvet. Now, we need to know here that Riff Rocket is out of the Randvet and will run in the Rosehill Guineas.
Yeah.
And Militarize is out of the Rosehill Guineas and will run in the George Ryder Stakes. So they'll both dual acceptors and caused a lot of confusion in the markets yesterday, but I've got the new markets here. Think It Over is the $2.50 favourite in the Randvet, 2,000 metres weight for age. Via Sistina, $3.60. Waller and J-Mac have got a big boom on this import. 6-year-old mare winning form in the UK and France. Ran second in a Group 1 race at Ascot in October. Buckaroo, it's another Waller import. A few starts in Australia. It's $4. Anthony and Sam Freedman have placed a Carousel. It's a French import having its first start here at $8.50. Good luck lining all these up.
I don't really like the race, to be honest. It's not my favourite race on the card, but I actually think Military Mission's been overlooked here as well.
Okay.
I think Military Mission is a proven Group 1 performer. Up to 2,000, had a good first up run, ran third, running on. I think it's
hard with all the imports.
I think this is an average race. Like, Think It Over, yes, very good horse. The rest is it's like the Melbourne Cup where you just don't know any of the form lines.
One of these imports might turn out to be a boom Australian weight for age performer.
Possibly.
We just don't know yet.
Yeah, and that's why it just doesn't hold that much interest with me. I try and avoid these races.
Rightio. The Rosehill Guineas, 2,000 metres for 3-year-olds. As I said, Militarise won't run in that race. Riff Rocket, which is the VRC Derby winner, slashing first up win over 1,400 metres at Flemington. Second up ran third. It was a good run in the Australian Guineas, $3.10. Tom Kitten, been luckless. First up, he was back in a 1,200 metre race. He finally found his feet, found the line. Last start, forget that he even ran in that race. He's $3.30. Immediacy is an interesting runner at $7. 3 from 3, including a big win in the Autumn Classic Group 2 over 1,800 metres at Caulfield. What do you like there?
I'm on Tom Pussy.
Tom Pussy.
Yeah.
The kitten. Rightio. Tom Kitten.
Like, its last run was enormous.
It was enormous.
Got no luck. And if you think Legend is going to be a chance.
Celestial Legend and Militarize, which ran first and second.
Like it should have, if it got even luck, it would have been running over the top.
It's been dying to run 2,000 meters.
Like Riff Rocket, yes, was
good
very
horse,
first,
Riff Rocket.
But I think Tom Kitten will run this out and will be a Monty for the Derby as well.
Okay, the George Ryder Stakes, 1,500 metres weight for age Group 1. Everyone needs to know that Think About It. We've received notification that Think About It, which is up to 1,500 metres for the first time, is $3.80. It has had a funny blood test. They scoped it and it was okay. There's going to be
some higher white blood cell count. So like,
so continual blood test from now until race day. It's $3.80.
I don't like it. As soon as
don't bet early.
One thing that we talk about with bloods, like a couple of the trainers I know that we talk about, compare our blood work, is high blood cell. I don't know how high it is. It might be only very marginally elevated,
but it's not good.
But it is the first marker you look at on a blood to be like, it just means it's fighting something. The white blood cell count is up because it's trying to fight something
else in the system.
So I would be not surprised if it comes out.
Yeah.
And then if that's the case, then
Militarize, which is now $5, will be a really short price favourite.
Lady Laguna's airborne.
Lady Laguna at $11. She was winning. $11 at the moment. Look, if Think About It comes out, then Militarize will be about a $3 favourite, and Lady Laguna will come into about 5 or 6.
I think you should swap that round. I think Lady Laguna should be the favourite if Think About It comes out. I would think Militarize is well unders if that's the case.
Yeah, well, she just was winning, and then she got beaten, and then I thought, oh well, but I still, put her in my quaddie legs and everything, and she won that Group 1. Just went
Canterbury,
absolute whacked them, and caps at $8.50. V8. The Victorian 3-year-olds.
This
at
next
$10,
one's a
Cobra
doozy,
Leaker at
isn't
18. Let's get to the Galaxy. Okay, just let me take you through the prices, and then I'll hand over to you.
Right.
Because there is Group 1 performer after Group 1 performer. Private Eye, Ladbrokes put it up at $9. It's into $6.50. 9 was way overs. King of Sparta, can't lose, is the last price I've seen was 14. Aft Cabin is at $6. Uncommon James, the Queenslander, $9.50. Buenos Noches, has he come up this campaign? Doesn't look like it, $19. Asfura, poor run last start, $19. Sunshine in Paris, when she goes, is $9. Osmosis, the boom 3-year-old that won the Coolmore down the straight at Flemington last spring, $4.40. King's Gambit, $12. Good luck.
I think my 2 picks, Aft Cabin, going enormous.
Yeah, that was a good run.
They got a huge boom on him. There's a big wrap on him. And Private Eye. If it can get luck, it's going to have to get more luck. And then King of Sparta, I just cannot understand why he is so long in the market. What more could he do than what he has done it? Like he's
just keeps winning.
I know his ratings might say that he's not quite at that level as some of the better ones, but as I said, my Sayonara is on Osmosis first up. I think second up, different story, but first up, you can leave me out.
Rightio. I might have a little each way go. Uncommon James, the Queenslander.
You love Queenslanders.
I know. I
I
see them win at Doomben, and I think I think they're champions.
In school, do they teach you to just there's a whole subject called loving Queensland?
Yeah, it is. And so when I was a kid and then a teenager, I just used to love watching Vo Rowe go to Melbourne and knock them over. I just loved. And I had a favourite horse, Planet Ruler. He'd go down to Melbourne and he'd win the Toorak. And then he'd win the 1,200-metre sprint race on Derby Day a couple of times and the Honda Stakes. And I was just like,
you know what's going to happen next? They're going to build a bloody wall around Queensland. So it's... But
how's the Olympics going in Queensland? Please, what a disaster. Hey, let's go to Moonee Valley. Good card of race. Actually, there's a really good card of group racing at Moonee Valley.
Yeah, no.
Most of the races there are really good. Group 2s, Group 3s, horses everywhere. Good punting day, but they got a Group 1 race, the William Reid Stakes. It's in direct competition with the Galaxy. The Galaxy's won out, but Imperatriz is there, $1.75. Hate's coming to Sydney. $1.75 Imperatriz to knock over Cylinder, which beat it last start, but that was under handicap conditions. Cylinder's at $6. Bella Nipotina, when it runs well at Moonee Valley, it's unable to be beaten, but it can also run poorly. $7.50. I Am Me, $7.
It's a bit of a non-betting race. If you ask me, like $1.75 is too short for Imperatrice in terms of for you to want to bet because
Yeah.
there's still
She
an
was
element.
$1.90 on Ladbrokes yesterday, and the punters just ripped into her.
Yeah, so I'm not. I would be more taking a punt on one at a little bit of odds. Cylinder, I think, needs a longer straight, so I'd probably be guarded on Cylinder. I think I Am Me will run a good race first up, but probably going to need a run to be primed for Group 1 level. So it leads you to think Imperatrice will probably win, but it's just I don't see enough value in it.
Look, everyone talks about Imperatrice. Oh, she's a great horse down the straight at Flemington. She's a really, really good horse down the straight at Flemington. And she's a superstar at Moonee Valley.
I know.
She flies
I know.
at the Valley.
I think it's because there's plenty. But what will she do from the wide barrier? I suppose she'll go forward and
Just go forward, sit there and just go.
Sit outside the leader or go and
shoulder.
lead. But
She'll win. She will win
There
on
you go.
Saturday. Let's
Heard
get
it
to
first.
stable mail. The Owen, because it's
Oh,
Owen,
God.
your stable and your tips. It's for Ladbrokes communities. Ever wanted to connect, banter, share tips with a group of die-hard racing punters? Well, it's time to check out Communities. It's available in the Ladbrokes app. I thought last weekend
couldn't make up ground. She ran well.
I thought she ran really well. Your tip. What was it?
Field weary in the first.
field weary in the first,
She
she just was wide
and back and
back.
anyway.
And I thought it was a good run. Actually,
It was. She's going to run next week. I'll give her another round next week.
stable mark.
But I've got one in the first. I think I'm actually favourite in the first. At Rose Hill. It's another midway. Let's see if we can start the day off. But Electrica, I might be second favourite to Wrathful, who's Sam Kavanagh's horse, good friend of mine. He thinks Wrathful will win, but Electrica has just been super consistent.
Electrica, you and your dad have done a great job with this horse. She is in the finish of every race.
Every midway.
She just needs her turn to win.
She has earned $165,000 out of a restricted benchmark 72 race on a Saturday. She just keeps going round. She gets a couple of ratings points. We put a claimer on. She just keeps going around. She'll run in the first three. She's $4.60. It's a big field, so I think you might even get she's paying each way odds.
Let's get each way odds.
Each way. So if she runs second, we're not Owen anymore. We're half an Owen.
Okay, you're half an Owen. What is it Owen for? Anyway, okay, it's time to unload. What are we backing this weekend? I'm going to unload on Tom Kitten.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I like that.
T Kitten.
Yeah, I like it.
And I'm going against my other favourite horse, Riff Rocket, but I just think Tom Kitten has been dying to run 2,000 metres.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm taking race 4. Race 4, which is the Derby Munro. I like Brave Mead.
Okay, Brave.
I actually had a touch of assistance. Someone told me my unloading tips weren't going that well. He said, "Do you want me to help you out?" And he steered me into this, and I went back and looked at its form. Its last 6 starts, it has not finished outside the placings at all. Like
Okay, Brave Mead, race 4, the
in
Derby
fact,
Munro.
of his 11 starts, he's only ever finished unplaced once. So super consistent. $5, load up, and then you can take it all into Imperatrice if you want.
I can let fly. On Uncommon James, I like each way as well. Can I put in?
Brainy.
I know you hate it when I do an each way tip. Anyway, that's how I like to bet. Good on you, Will Freedman. Good luck at Rose Hill on Saturday. Let's hope that Electrica wins the first race for you and you can just enjoy all of the races. Thanks very much for listening today to The Heart of Racing with Neil Breen and Will Freedman. Do you want to say goodbye to everyone?
See you later, blokes.
And this podcast, of course, is
all lasses.
There's a lot of ladies listening to this.
All lasses.
It's brought to you by our mates at Ladbrokes. Happy punting.